Where you go, I'll go. Where you stay, I'll stay. When you move, I'll move. I will follow. All your ways are good. All your ways are sure. I will trust in you.
Hello and welcome to the very first Devotional Bytes video series. I thought it might be fun to do a series going from Genesis to Revelation to put the Bible in one theme from beginning to end. And this, of course, is the very first one on Genesis, on the creation, one of the most important stories of the Bible because it gives us a setup of who God is, His power, His majesty. And of course, we're going to start in Genesis chapter 1. Now, have you ever wondered what it would be like to be right next to God when He created the world? When He powerfully spoke into existence the earth, the heavens, the stars, the planets, the trees, the mountains, everything. I would love to have been right next to God. Well, I'm not very good at the video stuff, but what I've done is enlisted the help of YouTube to bring in a good video of the creation account, the 6 days of creation. So as you look through it, imagine being there right next to God as you see all this unfold. Watch this.
In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was formless and empty, and waters and darkness was over the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the waters. And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good, and He separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness He called night. And there was evening and there was morning the first day. The second day God said, "Put an expanse between the waters on the earth and the waters above." And God called the expanse sky. On the third day God said, "Let dry ground appear and separate the waters on the earth." And it was so. God called the dry ground land, and waters He called seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, "Let the land produce vegetation, plants and trees." The land produced plants and trees bearing fruit according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. The fourth day God said, "Let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to give light on earth." And it was so. God made two great lights, the sun to govern the day, and the moon to govern the night. He also made the stars and set them in the expanse of the sky. And God saw that it was good. On the fifth day God said, "Let the waters be filled with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the sky." So God created the great creatures of the sea, and every winged bird according to its kind. And there was evening and there was morning the fifth day. And God said, Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. God saw all that he had made, and it was very good. And there was evening and there was morning the sixth day. By the seventh day, God had finished the work he had been doing. So on the seventh day, he rested.
Wow, isn't that incredible what God did in 6 days? Did you imagine being there? Well, man, that would have been an awesome event. But out of all that God had created and the power and the majesty and of which he created everything, think about this thought. Now this is even more mind-blowing than his creation, is that he looked at you and me and said, you are the crowning work of all that I've done. You are in charge of everything I made. Imagine that. God made all of that for us, for our enjoyment, for our pleasure. And he said, this is for you. So think about that. Think about the fact that God, in all of his majestically, powerfully created world and universe, he looks at you and me and said, this is for you. You are who I love. You are who I dedicate my thoughts, my mind, and my love to. Psalms chapter 139 is an awesome chapter. Read the whole thing sometime, but I'm just going to read verses 13 through 18 that talk somewhat about what God thinks of us. Let's read it together. For you formed my inward parts. You covered me in my mother's womb. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, that my soul knows very well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in secret and skillfully wrought in the lowest parts of the earth. Your eyes saw my substance, being yet unformed, and in your book they all were written, the days fashioned for me, when as yet there were none of them. How precious also are your thoughts to me, O God! How great is the sum of them! If I should count them, they would be more in number than the sand. When I awake, I am still with you. Wow, what awesome thoughts! That out of everything that God created, he's concerned about us. It says that he formed our inward parts. He knew us in our mother's womb. We were fearfully, wonderfully made. It says that he thinks about us, his thoughts towards us are like the sand of the sea. Have you ever taken a handful of sand and tried to count each grain? Probably not, because you knew that you would never reach a number. But take that sand and realize this, that God thinks about us like the sand of the sea. That's infinite. It's a metaphor. He's saying that I never ever stop thinking about you. If there's one thing that I could encourage you in, it's this. You are not alone. No matter what you're going through, no matter what comes your way, God's word says, I will never leave you or forsake you. Take comfort in that. Take comfort in knowing that out of everything that we talked about in God's creation, he's concerned about you. He loves you. He wants your life to be one with him, in effect. He wants to have that intimate, close, one-on-one relationship with you. You're never alone. You are special to God. Until next time, thanks for watching, and God bless you, and keep looking up that way.